This year marks the 50th anniversary of the police raid of the Stonewall Inn, a gay club in Manhattan. The riots following this event helped ignite the gay rights movement in this country. And while our nation has come a long way from the hate and bigotry of this period, there are still many challenges facing the LGBTQ community, particularly for young people. Last year, a report on LGBTQ youth revealed alarming levels of attempted suicide among transgender youth, dealing with family rejection, bullying, and harassment. Here in South Florida, the nonprofit Pridelines is working to support and empower the LGBTQ youth and the community by providing a safe space as well as promoting positive dialogue and helping to foster social change. And here to share more is CEO of Pridelines, Victor Diaz-Herman, and Vice Chair of Miami Beach Pride, Scott Allan Bader. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
So let's start with this. Pridelines, it was founded to help youth. It's changed. So where are you today?
That is a great question. We were founded to support LGBTQ youth back in 1982. And about 5 years ago, we realized that if we really wanted to serve our young people, we couldn't just serve them through the age of 24. We had to serve them throughout their lifetime. And at that point, we decided to expand our programs and services to include programs and services for people living with HIV, for older adults, and to include community programs. So we are now a full LGBTQ community center.
So I know you produced a video that shows a little sample, just a small picture of the things that you do, your organization does. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
I became involved at Pridelines when I was about 16 years old. I was kicked out of my mom's house, which was constantly happening over and over again. I heard about Pridelines through a friend of mine.
I stumbled across Pridelines in a Google search when I was 14 and first coming to terms with my trans identity.
I went, I believe it was like a Wednesday or something, and I was introduced to the people at Pridelines, and it became a ritual for me. You know, I met a lot of good people there, and I kind of have my drag career to thank for it too, because I met my friends who encouraged me to do drag through Pridelines.
I'm involved with Pridelines through Project Save. They provided me with a plane ticket to go to college, and I thought that was really great because I didn't have anyone else doing anything for me. Pridelines has also ensured that they allowed me to, helped me with getting a scholarship, a full scholarship to Cornish College of the Arts, which was located in Seattle, Washington.
As a youth, you know, getting that sense of community and volunteer and getting to be around like-minded individuals, you know, I wouldn't have the passion to be a part of the community as an adult.
Pridelines to me represents safety, family, community, pride, and love.
So this idea of providing a safe space was kind of surprising to me. I think there's this impression that Miami can be very accepting. We're making progress in this area, but you both believe there's a whole lot of work to be done. Why?
So Miami does have its safe and affirming areas, and it is a city that is progressive in relation to in comparison to other cities across the country. But like every city, there's still a lot of work to be done, and there are several issues that create a challenge, let's say, for our community here in Miami-Dade County. One is that because we're such a culturally diverse community, we also share or are surrounded by the values of many of the Caribbean and Latin American countries, which aren't always necessarily safe or affirming or accepting of queer people. Additionally, because of challenges around transportation, there are communities that don't have access to resources, and so in order to progress or to create change, unfortunately, the work isn't being done further out in those areas that are farther away from the areas that, you know, are considered or are safer and affirming, like Miami Beach or the city of Miami or Coconut Grove or Coral Gables. As you go further out west, further south, and even into the northwest, there aren't as many resources out there currently.
How often do you see this? Where you have youth who have to leave home, who don't feel like they can be open about who they are. I mean, in your opinion, is it getting better?
It is not getting better. In fact, that's why it's so important to have agencies such as Pridelines providing the programming and services they do. There's just a lot of issues. In addition to what Victor mentioned too, we're seeing issues at the county level with the county commission not banning conversion therapy, which adversely affects LGBTQ youth, and is something that we need to address, to have the conversation about. And it's services like what Pridelines provides. It makes that safe and affirming space for individuals to go to and to feel safe.
And to tag on to what Scott said, I mean, we are seeing progress, right? We are seeing progress as a community. And it's because of those organizations in our community like Equality Florida and Pride and the Chamber of Commerce and the National Task Force and Pridelines and other organizations, tons of other organizations that are here and fighting that we're creating change, but there's still a lot of change to be created.
How do you reach those young people who may be in a neighborhood where there isn't great transportation, they don't have access to a car? How do you reach, those young people who may not even know that your services exist?
Social media is always one way to find young people, and because we have been really successful in creating networks of support and relationships with other community agencies that are providing services. So if a young person comes in, they can be referred to Pridelines. And those networks are throughout Miami-Dade County, but even throughout the state. We've had clients that have been at risk of experiencing homelessness in Orlando that have contacted us, and through our relationships with agencies in Orlando, we've been able to actually relocate them to their families' homes in Massachusetts. So it really is through a network of support and social media marketing.
And relationships too. Our community is very heavy on relationships, especially in some instances where you can't necessarily choose your family,
sure,
but you can make your own family, and that happens a lot too. We see a lot of mentors in our community, and like Victor mentioned, there's a lot of nonprofits that then work together and refer amongst the other nonprofits that create a sort of outreach program that's not official, but you can kind of see it there. And it's about individuals, mentors, and nonprofits working together.
Yeah.
So as a leader in Miami Beach Pride, what do you want, especially young people, to know about the resources that are out there that they may not know about?
Well, it's a great thing to talk about, because at Miami Beach Pride, we bring together a lot of nonprofits. We're a nonprofit ourselves, and we were looking to the experts when this year, for the first time, we created a transgender activation called our Tea Tent. And we've had a women's tent in the past, and we really were kind of like, how can we make this work? How can we make this right and address the needs of the community? So as experts, we reached out to Pridelines. They know how to create safe and affirming spaces. So Miami Beach Pride partnered with Pridelines in order to make that happen, and we created our first annual tea tent at Pride. We're all inclusive. We create spaces for everyone in addition to the allied community outside of the LGBTQ community, and we knew Pridelines was a group that we wanted to work with to make that happen.
I know we didn't want to take a whole lot of time, but as far as the chamber, there's a lot of resources out there, and I know you can tell us a little bit about it that people may not know exist.
Yeah, the Miami-Dade Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce is celebrating 20 years this year, and it's always been the organization that's kind of been an incubator for other LGBT nonprofits to help them get started, to provide resources. We think a lot about others. We're caring about our organization, but really, at the leadership of Steve Adkins, we've really come a long way in helping other organizations. And we say commerce creates change. You see that with the bathroom bills, you see that with any other sort of activism, that when it comes down to the dollar and you get corporations, consumers, retailers all taking part of creating change through commerce, we see that. And we've done a great job of working with different groups and trying to make sure that we're incubating them, we're providing the support they need, and at the same time educating the community as well. We're very allied strong.
I was going to say, so your networking events are very important.
Absolutely, and a lot of times it breaks stigmas, or what people might think. They come to the event and we're part of lots of different chambers, but we came here and everyone was so welcoming. The question we get all the time is, do I have to be gay? No, you don't have to be gay to join the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. So like I said, a lot of our members are allies as well. So it kind of, changes their perception of what is acceptable, what's promoted, and, just how to act as a good ally or a member of the LGBT community.
So going back to Pridelines, you want people to know you're not just in one location. Tell me about your outreach right now.
Our outreach efforts. So our team is being very aggressive. We do a lot of outreach within the schools. We do a lot of HIV testing in nightclubs, at community events. We participate as often as possible in every community event that we get invited to participate in, including Pride, Wynwood Pride, Gay 8, Orgullo, a bunch, there's tons of events. And we, through our partnerships, are creating awareness about our programs and services so that they can also reach out and help people connect with us.
Fantastic. Thank you both for joining us. And for more information on Pridelines, you can visit pridelines.org. We'll also have this link and ways you can celebrate Pride throughout South Florida on our Facebook page at Your South FL. And if you're an LGBTQ youth and you just need someone to talk to, you can call the LGBTQ National Youth Talk Line at 1-800-246-PRIDE. And as always, we will have all of this information on our Facebook page at Your South FL.